Good morning. So I'm starting to get some really good submissions from you guys on the digital drawing from a photograph assignment. And so I wanted to do another tutorial for you to show you a different image, one that's a little more simple than the piece of pumpkin pie so that you can really see how to pick out the values in a simple object. So we're going to get started. I'm going to go to my drive again and I'm going to click new, go down to more, and then Google Drawings. Open up a new Google Drawing. And then I'm going to go up to where it says Untitled Drawing and type mine. And I'm going to put a 2 on mine since this is the second one I've done for you guys. Okay. All right. And I'm going to go and insert an image by clicking on the mountain picture up here. Search the web. And then this time I'm going to go with something kind of simple. We'll go with an apple. Again, you want to make sure that the picture that you select is an actual photograph. Obviously, you wouldn't want to pick this logo apple. And this apple here is already a digital drawing or a digital computer generated image. So you don't want to use this one. This one's already a polyline drawing. Don't use this one. This one right here is a photograph. This one's a photograph. This one is a photograph, but that's quite a bit of drawing. I wouldn't recommend doing one quite that complex. There's another photograph. And this one here is a photograph too. So any of these would be that are the photographs would work. I'm going to go with this one here and select that one and then insert. And then I'm going to move this one off to the side. Scoot my drawing board back this way. Okay, so then I'm going up to the polyline tool. So the line tool here and the drop down arrow, and then select polyline. And it brings up this little crosshair icon. And then I'm going to click and outline my entire shape. And I am going to go around the stem just because, I clicked too close to the last one, so it closed my shape. I did that on the first one too, so Control Z, take care of that. So I'm going to click and make points around my outline. And I am going to go around the stem just so that I know where to put my stem whenever I draw my stem out later. Go around there. And remember, each one of these clicks is a point. So I can adjust these points later if I need to, if one needs to be scooted in or one needs to be scooted out. We can always adjust the points. As long as the points are there, you can't add new points. So you want to make sure you get enough points when you do this initial drawing or when you outline any of the values. Okay, so then it fills it in with this light blue color, and I'm going to pick something that resembles the apple. I'm going to go down here to this dark red color. And I also want to make sure I change the outline. Always, always, always make sure you change the outline to transparent. We don't want to be able to see black outlines for this. And then I'm going to go up to the arrow tool, the select tool, and remember, hold down shift. That will keep your shape in the same plane. Okay, and so now I have basically one value for this apple. But this apple has lots and lots of different values. You can see there's some dark areas here, there's darker areas here, there's some lighter areas here, and then of course the stem is darker too. So make sure that the drawing that you're doing, that you pick out at least 8 values or more. We don't want to stick with just one value because this makes the apple look very flat. And all those different values or shades of color are what's going to make your image look three-dimensional. So let's make this apple look more three-dimensional. I'm going to go ahead and do the stem because that one's pretty obvious that that's a different value. So I'm going back to my polyline tool. Now the stem is small, so I'm going to have to be careful not to let this close in my shape too soon. See, it wants to kind of snap over, but we don't want that to happen because I don't want it to close my shape just yet. Okay. And then I'm going to go up here to a fill color and choose dark brown color here. Make sure that my border is transparent. Grab my select tool, hold down shift, and I'm going to slide this over into place. So let's just look at the stem. You can see that there are a couple different values just in the stem. There's a lighter value in the top. So I'm going to try to highlight that. It's pretty small, so we'll have to see how this will work. Yep, it closed my shape. But hopefully I can get... It's going to keep closing my shape. Hopefully I can get a lighter area here. There we go. And again, change my border color transparent, and then back to a lighter... That one, I don't know if that one's lighter or not. So let me scoot it over and just see. Hold down shift. Right about there. Let me move that up just a little bit. So that's that lighter area at the top of the stem. So already in the stem, we have two different values. So in the apple, we are going to start picking out these values. So on this side of the apple, I've got a pretty dark area. So I'm going to go back to the polyline tool, click on that, and then outline this area of darker value. And it comes all the way down. And then it gets a little hard to see where that value changes over because it is so gradual. I'm actually going to grab all of this area here and then go back and do a darker value. Okay, so we'll change this to one shade darker than our original outline. Hold down shift and slide this over. So that's a little too dark, and there's no value between those. So what I'm going to do is go down here to custom, and I'm going to change the transparency of that color, or I could move that color up and pick a color over here, however you want to do it to make it not quite as dark. So then it's very subtle change from this red to this red. Now I'm going to go and do this darker value here. So I'm going to choose my polyline tool again and try to kind of pick out this darker area because this is a little darker. And you can see it closed the shape on me again, and I just hit Control Z and start it again. Okay, so again, I'm going to change this to that darker color, transparent outline, select tool, hold down shift, scoot this over. Well, actually, I'm going to move these points in just a little. So if you double click on a shape, you can kind of scoot those points in. So there's the darker area, and then there's a darker area of value on this side of the apple. So I'm going to click on my polyline tool again. There are literally hundreds of values in just this one apple, but we're going to pick out just the main ones that we can see. Okay, and then that darker, no outline. Grab my select tool and slide this over. And again, this is pretty dark. I don't think I want it quite that dark, so I'm going to select that and go back up to the fill color, custom. And I could actually choose the color that I used over here, but I want this one to be kind of halfway between this color and this color. So that's kind of a medium value there. All right, so now I'm going to pick out some of these lighter values. Actually, let's do one more dark area. So let's pick out a dark area here around the stem. Make sure my line is transparent. That color's actually not bad. I think I'll leave that color. Scoot this over. Now I'm going to pick out some light values. Use my polyline tool, and you can see these areas here are definitely lighter because this is where our highlights are. And we'll go with maybe that. No outline. And I could do a couple of these at a time, but I'm just going to keep it simple and go with one at a time. Okay, so that's a pretty bright spot there. I could leave it like that, or I can change that color a little bit, bring the transparency down so it's not quite so bright. Okay, and now this is sort of the value of the whole area. I'm actually going to add one more value here that's bright white. So this one is going to be more like that color. Let's see how that looks. All right, I'm going to do this light area here behind the stem. And I'm just going to sort of ignore my stem to begin with. And then I'll show you how to change the order. Let's look at this light area here. And then I'm going to go and choose that highlight color that I made. Transparent outline. Scoot this over right about there. And then I want this stem to be on top. So I'm going to select the stem and I'm going to right click. So I took 2 fingers and tapped, or you can right click, however you do to right click. And I'm going to go down to order and I want to bring that to the front. And now my stem is in the front. So now my little highlights on top. So there are also some areas that are yellow. You could even pick out those areas that have that little bit of yellow tint to them. And do transparent line. But now that's pretty bright yellow, so I want to make sure that I change the transparency of that. And then slide this over. So there's that area of yellow, and I could even pick out some areas of yellow here. There's another area that is a little lighter here. So even in this apple, even though it's one color, there are hundreds of different values in here. So don't just do 1 or 2 values. You need at least 8 or more. All right, this time I'm going to go with this color and change the transparency of it. so that some of the darker color underneath still shows through, and it's very subtle. Make sure my border is transparent. And so now my apple's beginning to look very three-dimensional, and that's what I want you guys to do, is to learn how to pick out those values. Don't just stick with one or two. You want to really look and pick out the values of whatever object that you are drawing. And then the very last step, don't forget to do this. I still have some students that are sharing screenshots or the actual drawing file. Please, please don't skip this step. Go up to File, Download, JPEG. Don't choose any of these others. Always choose JPEG. That will download it to your drive, and then you can upload that photo to your assignment in Canvas. Make sure you upload the JPEG photo. Don't try to upload the Google Drawing file. All right, let me know if you have questions. So a few final reminders. Be sure you pick a photograph, not drawing, not a digital image. Make sure it's a photo. It can be any photo, but keep it fairly simple. Second, be sure to pick out the values, pick out the different variations in lights and darks for a certain color. You should have at least 8 different values. So that means you're going to have at least 8 different pieces or more. You can have as many as you need to make it as detailed as you want. Third, be sure to go to File and download your image as a JPEG, and be sure to upload that JPEG image to your Canvas assignment. Some of the submissions that I'm getting are not JPEG images, and some of them don't open, and then some of them are opening up blank. So please make sure that you download as a JPEG and then upload that JPEG to your Canvas assignment. Let me know if you have questions. I can't wait to see some more work coming in.